Aren't you tired of running? You can let go now. I know you've been holding on for so long, chasing, fighting, surviving, but it's okay. The fire's gone. You don't have to keep pretending there is something left to burn. Tonight, we're not running anymore. Just breathe, sit in the quiet, and maybe you'll start to feel what's been waiting underneath all along. What happens when the only thing driving you is gone? It's a question that sounds simple, almost cliché, but the moment you actually face it, it feels like standing on the edge of a cliff with no ground beneath your feet. Maybe for years you've been chasing something. Revenge, success, someone's approval, a dream you swore you would die for. That fire inside you kept you alive, even when things felt impossible. And then one day, it's gone. Maybe you got what you wanted. Maybe you failed. Maybe life simply ripped it away from you. And now, you're left with silence. Who are you without the chase? That's the idea I want to explore with you today. Not as a story locked inside a show, but as a human truth. Something that all of us eventually are forced to face. So let's sit with it. Let's walk through this fire together. Drive is the invisible force that pulls us out of bed in the morning. It's the engine behind every great invention, every war, every love song, every empire. Think about it. The student who studies until their eyes ache, chasing the dream of becoming a doctor. The athlete who bleeds and breaks bones for a single championship medal. The business person who sacrifices relationships, health, sanity, just to stand on top of financial empire. Drive is powerful. It can make ordinary people do extraordinary things. It can turn weakness into strength, fear into courage. But there is a hidden truth. Drive is also dangerous, because when everything you are is tied to one goal, you become fragile, like a glass sword, sharp but breakable. And the more you identify with your chase, I am the runner, I am the fighter, I am the avenger, the more you forget who you are without it. That's why some people fear slowing down. They fear rest. They fear stopping. Because if they do, what's left? Let's imagine it. You finally climbed the mountain. You're standing at the peak, looking out at the world. The thing you've bled for, cried for, suffered for. It's yours. And then, nothing. The silence after victory can be deafening. Athletes talk about this all the time. After winning the gold medal, they go home and fall into depression. Soldiers who survive war, who return home alive, often feel lost without the battlefield. Even celebrities, after reaching the peak of fame, spiral into emptiness. It's like building your whole identity around a dragon, finally slaying it, and realizing your entire life was built around fighting. Now, there is nothing left to swing at. And this doesn't just happen in big dramatic lives. It happens to regular people too. To the woman who spent 20 years raising her children, and now they have grown up and left. To the man who lived only for his job, only to get laid off. To the person who spent years chasing the love of someone else, only to realize it was never meant to be. The moment the drive is gone, the silence is terrifying. You realize you don't know how to live without the fight. History and myth are full of people crushed or reborn when their drive disappeared. Take Alexander the Great. He conquered the unknown world by the age of 30. A man who never lost a battle, who expanded his empire beyond imagination. And yet, when there were no more lands to conquer, he wept. What's a conqueror with no more wars? Or Achilles, the hero of Greek myth. His whole existence was built on glory, on fighting for his name to be remembered. But what happens to a man like that in peacetime? What is a sword without a war? If I stay here and fight, I shall not return alive, but my name will live forever. If I return home, my glory will die. Achilles. So yeah, if there were no wars left to fight, what's left for a man like that? Peace might have been unbearable, because peace would mean silence. No songs, no glory, no purpose, just time. And for someone like Achilles, time is worse than death. Even in modern times, look at celebrities who make it. They get the fame, the money, the admiration, and then collapse under the weight of emptiness. They chased the dream, they caught it, but it didn't give them the meaning they thought it would. Over and over, the pattern repeats. When your purpose dies, so does the version of you built on it. So what happens next? This is the turning point. Some people break, they sink into despair, into addiction, into aimlessness. They cling to the ashes of their old fire, wishing it could burn again. Others rebuild. Think of the soldier who returns home and becomes a teacher, the athlete who, after retirement, becomes a mentor, the parent who rediscovers who they are outside of motherhood or fatherhood. This transition is never easy. It feels like death, because in a way it is the death of an old identity, but it's also a rebirth. It's the chance to ask, if I'm not just the chaser of that one dream, then who am I? And for so many people, the question leads to something deeper, something steadier than obsession. Here's the secret. The second drive is different from the first. The first one is usually external: revenge, success, glory, proving yourself to others. It burns hot, but it doesn't last. The second drive, the one you find after losing the first, is quieter. It's about creation instead of destruction, about meaning instead of victory, about peace instead of war. It might look like building a community, creating art, loving someone fully, or simply living a life of peace, where your value isn't measured by conquest. True freedom comes not when you're consumed by the chase, but when you can choose your chase. When you're not a slave to obsession, but a creator of your own meaning. This doesn't mean ambition is bad. It just means ambition without depth will eventually eat itself. So, let me ask you again, what happens when the only thing driving you is gone? Do you break, or do you rebuild? Do you spend the rest of your life staring at the ashes of your old fire? Or do you light a new one that warms instead of burns? Maybe that's the real secret. The first drive keeps you alive. The second drive teaches you how to truly live. So the question isn't, what are you chasing? The question is, who are you without the chase? And maybe, just maybe, that's where you finally find yourself.